I enjoy lying to people. Anyways, Robot Khaos, it's time. It's time for chaos. We're gonna be chaotic. Last week we had some good fights. I'm not a compulsive liar. That was a bad fight. Monstrosity was good. That one was good as well. That was an amazing main event. Loki looks good. Yeah, it's this week's fights. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so we're starting off with a big spinner showdown with the 2-0 Hive Smashing and the 1-1 Blindside. We'll see Ribot try to not suck against Enforcer. We'll see the Italian boy Bot of Italy against A-Bomb. We'll see Ripper try to not be eliminated against Buzzkill. We'll see Kraken taking on Blip and Mad Catter against Complete Control. And then in the main event, 2 Wedge robots with Rampage and Atomic Green.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Both of those robots have looked pretty solid. I mean, similar style Wedges. Rampage has the weapon. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
But let's start out with this fight. This should hopefully be a fun one. Blindside, they lost their first matchup against Snowblind, which in the end, Snowblind's a good robot. You can survive that one. And then they recovered with a nail-biting, gritty win over Monstrosity. So we'll see how it can do right here. They have had good history beating Tombstone mods. They completely destroyed, I believe it was Orby Blade last season. We'll see if Hive Smashing can break the trend.
Yeah, Blindside, an absolute joy to watch this season. But we have Hive Smashing in the other corner, and I mean, they've looked great. They took it to Hypershock a couple weeks ago in a main event fight that was just absolutely shocking. That weapon is incredibly powerful. We're going to see 2 of the highest kinetic energy weapons in the entire field going at it tonight, and I'm excited to see the sparks.
This is definitely going to be a fun matchup in the end. It could be a win. It could be a good performance here that could send Hive Smashing to the playoffs as a high seed for Blindside. It could really help them secure their position. But in the end, let's go down to this match, see who can take it. And the fight is underway. Both of these big spinners spinning up.
Yeah, both of these robots showing respect for each other, allowing each other to spin up. Ooh, and some huge hits already.
And we're seeing lots of respect for these 2 robots, both letting each other spin up and landing some quality shots. Great attack there, and another one.
Ooh. Yeah, Blindside trying not to be too aggressive with their weapon because they know that Hive Smashing has the faster spin-up time. So they really just want to get spun up and stay spun up as long as they can. Ooh. And some big shots across the
wall.
arena.
That was a massive shot there. Blindside reeling from that hit, but in the end, they seem perfect. But ooh, big slam and another one.
Gotta be careful by that pit.
Hive Smashing being chucked around the arena, but they are holding steady, continuing to initiate contact with Blindside, fully opening up that pit and seeing if they can get some more collisions. It looks like they're both still lining up. And ooh, Blindside hitting the shelf, and that spinner
is down.
That spinner may be reeling from that shot, but spinning back up again.
Or at least attempting to.
Looks like Blindside. Can that spinner spin back up, or is it incapacitated? If it is, this is a big opening, and Hive Smashing could be well on the way to winning, but that spinner back up.
Yeah, back up. That was the opening you wanted if you were Hive Smashing, and unfortunately they were just unable to capitalize. But some more just huge shots. Blindside thrown into the wall. That spinner did stop abruptly again. Let's see if they're going to have issues getting it up like they did last time.
Looks like they might be having a few issues. These massive hits between these 2 titans really starting to cause some wear machines, and a big shot into the pit.
Huge throw there from
Hive Smashing with another dominant win. That is, I believe, one of our first... Actually, no, never mind. It's one of those rookies that's now 3-0. Them and, I believe it was Loki, both 3-0, and both are vying for that top seed.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're going to have to see those robots just progress through this season. Hopefully they fight it out eventually, but man, what an incredible fight this was. Not even a bad loss if you're Blindside. They did exactly what they're built to do. They really took it to Hive Smashing. They had them reeling after some of these hits.
Yeah, they definitely had some really great shots, but in the end, Hive Smashing landed the shot to end the fight. Absolutely incredible performance. That bot looks fearsome.
Oh god, it's Ribot.
Now getting to Ribot. It hasn't been here since I think episode 2. The reason why is simple. It's so bad. It missed out one of its fights because it physically didn't work. But now it's back here because Huge was sold and there was an opening for it to come back.
Sold Huge.
I really hope it does a bit better here, but in the end, Enforcer is a pretty competent veteran. Going to be interesting to see how they tackle Ribot.
Yeah, Enforcer should take care of business here against Ribot. I mean, they haven't looked the best in recent seasons, but they have had some runs. They had that, run all the way to the final that one season against Behemoth. They're just a solid robot. They have the spike. They do what they want to do with the spike, but the armor on these robots is getting better. So is that spike just not enough anymore? We're going to have to see. This fight is going to be really telling for both of these robots.
Yeah, in the end, we'll have to see which robot here can come out with a victory. We'll see if Ribot has some of those issues fixed. See if Enforcer can pick up and get their second win. Both robots already moving, and already that is a lot better control there from Ribot.
Yeah, definitely much faster. I mean, maybe they were just having some first fight jitters in their last fight, but man, they looked awful in their last fight. Definitely much quicker this time.
Yeah, they look pretty competent so far, landing a few good pushes onto Enforcer. Enforcer now getting a nice little backhand.
Yeah.
See if they can get that spike into play, but like we said before, is that spike not going to be as effective now because the armor of these bots are getting better? Is it starting to get a bit outdated?
Yeah, definitely. Ribot has that, hard 3D printed top up there, so it's going to be hard to puncture with something sharp like that. Enforcer really needs to start getting some good shots on that top, and they're kind of being bullied around by Ribot right now.
Yeah, Ribot doing a pretty good job at controlling the pace so far. They have been the one landing those decent shots on the side, and right now, Enforcer really struggling here. We thought this would be a pretty easy fight for them, but right now they are on the back foot, and Ribot is the one that is controlling the pace.
Yeah, definitely. Ribot, I mean, looking impressive with their pushing power. Their weapon doesn't really do much. A very thin blade, not a lot of mass to it, but that's not where you want to be, and Enforcer is thrown into the pit. I mean, a pretty solid win by Ribot. I'm sorry for talking so much crap.
I gotta say, Ribot, we said we were hating on it. Gotta say, that was a perfect fight for them, pretty much start to finish. They used the forks well, they managed to get a few decent shots, and in the end, they're really weighed down by the start of their season, but that is how you want to recover.
Yeah, I'm impressed by their ability to execute their strategy in this fight. And I mean, very solid driving over by that pit. We know some teams that would have just driven straight in. Just good driving. I'm pretty impressed by Ribot.
Definitely. Now getting into Bot of Italy, they managed to win their first fight, but then stumbled against Cyclone. Now they're up against Abomination. Let's see what Builder Boy has to say about this match.
Okay, this one I might actually not be so confident in. Abomination? Yeah, that one with the tracks. That tracks, oh my goodness, that thing can push. Nowhere near as good as Snowblind, but it can push. Although it doesn't look like it can self-right, just like Snowblind, so we're just gonna treat it like we're fighting Snowblind. If we flip it over, they're done. Alright? Easy as that.
Thank you for that, Mr. Builder Boy. And in the other side of the arena, we're going to have Abomination. Like the Builder Boy said, Abomination cannot self-right, which could be a problem for them. But their wedge is very good. That Vev on the front, is very potent. They just need to stay squared up. They need to not let Bot of Italy flip them. And if they can execute that, they're in for a solid match here.
Yep, this should be a pretty interesting one. See which bot here can pick up their second victory.
Vev.
We have the Italian boy against the monstrosity that is Abomination. Both getting in and already a nice little half flip there. Of course, that flipper of Bot of Italy did break in its last match against Cyclone, but it seems right now that is fixed and it survived that first hit. If they can manage to keep that flipper well and engaged, then it could be some problems for Abomination.
Yeah, definitely. Abomination really needs to avoid that front. Bot of Italy doing a good job placing it where they want it to. But, I mean, yeah, definitely winning that pushing power battle right now is Abomination.
Yeah, Abomination, they seem to be able to get the ground advantage most of these exchanges, but in the end there are a few where they let their guard down, and that allows Bot of Italy to get kind of half flips. They've not done a whole lot yet. Ooh, gotta look out by that pit, able to escape. But right now, pretty even match between these two, but Abomination getting a few good engagements.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, no!
Yeah. Oh, it's done.
Just like Builder Boy said he was planning for, if the bot is flipped, it cannot self-right, and using the screws perfectly, we see Bot of Italy picking its second victory against a very highly respected veteran like Abomination. Great performance for them. Their flippers seem to be working as they were hoping. Got a good flip to end that match.
Yeah, good utilization of the box. They're kind of using the wall and the screws to their advantage. Abomination really not able to execute their game plan, and like the Builder Boy said, they can't self-right. And that's exactly what Bot of Italy was able to do. Very impressive win there. good job sticking to their strategy.
Yeah, in the end, they really stayed calm, they stayed collected, waited for their moment, and once they did that, they got the victory. 2-1 for Bot of Italy, their season looking pretty solid right now. Then, next up, we have another 0-2 robot. The other robot they're fighting isn't 0-2, but for Ripper, they've had those flashes. They've had really good moments this season. They almost took out Behemoth, almost took out Snowblind, but they just can't close out their fights, and that's why they're here right now.
Yeah, I mean, and hey, losing to Behemoth, losing to Snowblind, those are two very respected, very good robots. No shame in losing to either of those robots, but they really need to pick up a win here against Buzzkill, which should be a pretty good tight matchup for them. I mean, Buzzkill has a lot of ground clearance. Ripper is a very low robot. Not the best combination, but Buzzkill really needs to get around to those sides of Ripper, really rip up that armor, no pun intended. This design of Buzzkill, they are 1-1, but they haven't looked the most amazing so far.
They definitely haven't. They struggled a little bit in their fight against Topbot, and that was not the most convincing win. A victory here that could knock out Ripper from the tournament, though, that'd be exactly what they'd be looking for. But let's go down to the box. Can Ripper keep their season alive? The fight begins. Ripper immediately going in and trying to get flipped, but that's an issue. We've seen that before, where it flips itself.
Yeah, definitely. We have to watch out for that. But already a huge flip over by that
great
wall.
Shot there. Ripper with a good engagement there, but oh no, Ripper, why do you do this to me? I used a blacksmith to make you, and you keep doing this. Oh, it's good.
It's fine.
It's fine. Ripper back into this match, but please don't do that again. And oh, they got the flip.
They almost did it again.
They almost did it again, but in the end, they got the flip. They will be able to survive, and they still managed to do it. I have to fix that.
Yeah, that's a big issue, but hey, if they can get that issue sorted out, Ripper does look solid, and their hopes are still alive. They are 1-2. Going 2-2 could get them maybe a low seed in the tournament, which, hey, isn't ideal, but it's the best they can get right now. I mean, this match started off, Ripper, it's like all other matches, Ripper just looks very good, very impressive. Some very nice flips, great flipper ability there, I mean, but that is a big issue there, getting stuck on the front of the robot. Buzzkill could have stayed back and took the win, but they decided to be a sportsman about it, and then getting flipped over the same way, basically.
Yeah, Ripper, they really have to manage to get that ironed out, but in the end, they are still in this competition. They managed to pick up their first win, and that might be the motivation they need to pick up some more wins later on in the competition.
I love Crack. And I love Kraken. Kraken's so good, so fun to watch. And going up against Blip here, this is going to be an interesting fight because Blip has a lot of areas that Kraken can grab onto, especially on those sides. Both of these robots in their sophomore season, both looking pretty solid. Not amazing, but definitely not bad.
Definitely. Kraken, they got outclassed a lot by Krusty Grab in their last match, but in the end, they've got good drive. Their Clamper sometimes can get pretty decent shots, but Blip, overall, they have looked pretty solid this season. In the end, they're 2-0 right now, which is all you could really ask for. They got wins over Silver Star, which Silver Star kind of sucks, but also they got a decent win over Rusty. That Flipper looks a little bit better this season.
Yeah, definitely. The Flipper seems to have a bit more power in it, which is exactly what you want. It's going to be an interesting fight here against Kraken. Not a lot to flip, but if they can get a solid push-up against the wall, they can use that Flipper and try and get Kraken into the screws or over that shelf. So let's see how this plays out.
And the fight begins. Two robots of varying styles, both BattleBots opponents looking for something here. Blip, if they can pick up a win here, likely going through to that tournament, hopefully vying for a higher seed. But right now, we're seeing them both jostling for position. Those low forks on Blip trying to get under Kraken, not doing a terrible job so far.
Yeah, definitely. Kraken really wants to grab those wheel wells. If they can get under those, they can get a nice grab on Blip, similar to what Loki does, and just kind of drive him into the pit. That's the goal. And already a nice little pin under there. Blip seeming to struggle getting under its opponents, which has seemed to be a common theme.
Yeah, Blip looking for that moment. And oh, there's a nice little toss back. But like we said, Kraken, very versatile. They can self-right from almost any angle. And in the end, that could be a big part of them for this match. If Blip can continue to get flips like that, though, that will help in the aggression and the control categories.
Yeah, you can see Kraken sinks its teeth down, but it didn't really have the bite, so it didn't really grab anything. But if they can get a good grab on Blip, it can change this fight drastically. But already a nice little push by Blip, kind of do-si-doing around the arena. Not much action, but there is a nice Nice little push there by both robots. Kraken was under Blip, but it seemed like Blip was controlling.
Kraken sprung up a little bit by that engagement. And looks like they got a good hold there on the back of Blip. That is a great hold.
Yeah, definitely a very good hold. This is what you want if you're Kraken. You want to try and get that pit open and just try and drop Blip in there. You don't want to keep this fight going for any longer than you have to.
Yeah.
But they do have to let go. You cannot hold on for more than 10 seconds.
Yeah, Blip looking to try and rebound after that. Right now, Kraken, they started out a little bit slower, but in the end, they got a few good moments, and right now, right into the jaws of Kraken. Kraken looking pretty solid so far. That's
another good bite there.
Great bite there. We're seeing probably the best performance from that grabber Kraken that we have seen in its tournament so far. This is a great showing for them so far. Blip definitely seems to be on the back foot right now.
Yeah, definitely. That was exactly the sequence if you want if you're Kraken. Just use those arena hazards. Right now the pit is not open, so solid use of the screws there and slamming Blip into the wall.
Yeah, Blip has gotten a few decent little tosses and now back near the wall. And ooh, a great moment there by the shelf. Blip looking to rally back in this match, and they definitely still can. It's still very close between these two. Kraken with a few good pushes, Blip with a few good flips, and a few good pushes.
And that shelf that pit is open.
And Kraken almost getting Blip in there, but in the end they didn't, and now they have another good bite. Kraken trying to push them in, but it didn't work.
Oh my god, Kraken, why do you always go in the pit?
Kraken had their opportunity. They had Blip lined up. They had a great ram, but just slightly miscalculated. And that one miscalculation is going to doom them. Pretty good performance for both of these bots. Blip got a few good moments in there. Kraken, that grabber looked really strong. But in the end, it was just one moment that decided the fight. For Kraken, it's a reoccurring story. It's always the pit that they just have issues with.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, being a two-wheel drive robot, it is a bit hard to control, but man, you really can't be making those mistakes. It's definitely, especially in your sophomore season, just a bit of a miscalculation, and that's a win for Blip, kind of ensuring them a tournament spot.
Now
it's a bad fight.
It is. In the highlighted match, we have Mad Catter and Complete Control. Complete Control's lifter really not able to do much, not able to get under Mad Catter. Mad Catter's spinner having a lot of issues, but in the end, they did have the lower front. And using that lower front, they managed to get them into the pit to improve the record to 2-1. But now, enough with that baby poopy fight. Let's get to the big man fight.
Big main event.
We have Rampage. It's 2-0 and looking very solid. And they have had a very decent resume so far. They had a good win over Death by the Hit, good win over Breaker Box. Looking to improve this robot's record to 3-0, but Atomic Green, they're a tough one to crack.
Yeah, definitely. Rampage has been super impressive this season. Just their ability to get under their opponents, ram them into the wall, and just really use that momentum to throw them into their spinner. They aren't invertible, which is going to be interesting to watch against a flipper bot like Atomic Green. But moving on to Atomic Green, I mean, they've also looked pretty solid this season. 1-1, but their first fight, I'd say, was more of a fluke. They seem to have bounced back, and they're looking pretty solid.
Yeah, of course, that first loss to Bot of Italy, they stuck in for quite a while, but in the end, the flips were just too much. Then they bounced back. They almost lost again to Stingray, but in the end, they were managed to recover and stay alive. And at this point, they're a very solid robot. They've proven it, and this is going to be a pretty interesting match. Going to be a tough one because Rampage is a really tough bot, but if Atomic Green can get the lower ground, get that flip, they only need one flip to win this match.
Let's see how it plays out. Ooh, rainbow lights.
I like the rainbow lights. They're pretty cool. And just like that, the fight kicks off. Both of these robots very fast, and already a big engagement there by Rampage.
Atomic Green really showing who the lower bot is, at least right now.
And already back up in that corner. And once again, that ground game seems to be lower on Atomic Green, and that could be decisive. They're really showing their control, showing the capabilities of that lifter, and Rampage is reeling.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Rampage has just used their ability to control their opponent all season, and right now they're on the back, but they don't have that low ground, and Atomic Green really just putting on a clinic right now in this main event.
Definitely. Right now, Rampage really looking for that opening. If they can get one good chip that could mess up that wedge, that would be really beneficial for them. But right now, stuck up on that back wall by that camera, and that's not what you want, but looks like they're able to get out of there.
Some good sportsmanship from Atomic Green. They could have ended that fight right there, but they're going to keep it going.
Yeah,
Let's hope that doesn't come back to bite them.
Yeah, right now we're seeing both robots continue to try to get that positioning. There is the best moment of the match, I would say, for Rampage. And again,
With another nice push into that wall.
Rampage finally able to get underneath and manage to land a few nice shots. And once again, underneath of Rampage is Atomic Green, that lifter. Pretty effective so far. Can it get that flip?
I think pretty effective is an understatement. They've been putting on an absolute clinic, but no real full flips, kind of just lifting them up in the air. So Rampage is still in this fight, but there we go, on its back, and it is not going to be able to get up from that position.
And that is trouble for Rampage. That is not where you want to be. The countdown has started. It looks like Atomic Green will improve their record to 2-1, handing Rampage their first loss of the season in the main event.
And what a dominant win it was. I mean, they were just, I feel like they were under Rampage for almost the entire fight.
That was a very strong performance with the drive, with the weapon, all around. This is a very well-rounded robot that has really come to life, and they look like they are going to be a threat. Of course, they still have to get that next win to really secure their spot in the tournament, but right now, they are a force.
For sure. I mean, I was really impressed with their ability to get under Rampage. I'm still very impressed by Rampage, but they were just kind of outclassed in this match. Not a very good matchup for them. And let's hope they can bounce back in their next fight. But I'm very impressed with Atomic Green.
Very impressive robot that is. FC, how they can do in their fourth matchup. And that concludes today's episode.
Yeah.
Looking back at what we saw today, there were some very fun moments, but looking at next one, we'll see Breaker Box try to get the first win. Bung take on Death by the Hit. Silver Star try not to disappoint me. Ice Wave try to pick up their third win. They're that good somehow. We'll see Mammoth with a working lifter unlike the last fight, and in the main event, a battle of water robots. But in the end, that's the episode.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you next week on Robot Chaos.